Welcome back to First Line. Attention all action film lovers. You may not like what scientists have just discovered. It appears that in a new study, researchers have found a link between the action genre and obesity.
Joining us now in the studio is AUT Applied Ecology Institute Director Steve Pointing. Hi there, Steve.
Good morning.
Action films make us a little tubby. Is that the theory? Is it because
work?
of what we eat while watching them? Is that the idea?
Well, that's the finding of this new study. Yes, it's it's quite scary. So, I mean, it's been known for a long time that there's a very strong correlation between watching TV and having a sedentary lifestyle and obesity. But this is the first evidence that actually the type of content can influence your waistline. So what this study did, it was conducted with uni students in Cornell University, so probably quite a good demographic for this. And they were all put in front of 3 different TV programs. So one was an action movie with the sound turned up, one was an action movie with no sound, and one was a very mundane chat show. And they were given big bowls of lollies and also bowls of fruit to snack on. So what the results showed was that for those students watching the action movie with the sound turned up, they ate pretty much double the amount of snack food than the people watching the chat show. And that equated to 354 calories per movie, which is about the size of a light lunch in terms of energy. And even with the sound turned off, they still ate 35% more calories. So the conclusion of the study was it was the cutting and the action sequence visually that was a cue to eat more food.
And it sounds like quite a good experiment to be involved in for some people. How did they discover it exactly with the people sitting there watching? They just...
Well, it was observational, so essentially that whilst the subjects were watching the movie, they were also being watched.
Were they bringing
with a video
more food
camera.
into them, or...?
No, they were just given bowls of M&Ms in this case, and grapes. Yeah.
But all hope is not lost. There is a new way you could train your brain into liking healthy food.
Yeah,
Take your grapes into the movie.
This would be great if it really came to pass. So essentially, another study from the US took another bunch of uni students and essentially put a bunch of them on a very strict diet regime where they cut down fat, carbs and protein and portion size very strictly for 6 months. And then after that 6 months, they did brain scans on all the students, and they found that those that had been on this strict diet had actually rewired their brain and trained themselves to crave and like the healthy food. So there's kind of hope for us all that, you know, if we could stay the course, that potentially we could rewire our brains not to want all those nice
So
lollies.
it's just persistence, is it? And 6 months was seen as the...
It was,
like
yeah,
the
there was also
cut-off point.
positive reinforcement with counselling and with education. So I'm sure that played a part. But basically it was longevity, yeah, 6 months.
How significant is something like this?
Well, I think it's huge. I mean, obesity is a pandemic, you know, not just in New Zealand, but all across the world. And quite simply, we need to all get slimmer to stay healthier. So it couldn't be more important, really.
Now, what about gut bacteria and the latest findings as to what impact it can have?
Yeah, so from the mouth to the other end of the body. But this is a study, yet again, in mice. I know I always give you mice studies, but they're a very good model for humans. So what this study has shown is that for people who suffer food allergies, there's really hope for the future, because things called probiotics, which are biologically active compounds we can eat with our food, sometimes have protective effects. And in this case, it's a bacterium called Clostridium, which ironically is related to a very harmful bacterium, such as the one that causes botulism. But this Clostridium essentially was able to recognise allergens in food and block those allergens from being taken up by the intestine walls before they caused harm. So potentially a good news there for people who suffer food allergies.
Oh, very good. Thank you very much, Steve Pointing, for coming in this morning.